Welcome back to Crazy Dave's Crew. I'm Laura and you're watching Thursday Threads. I don't know about the rest of you, but I hate waiting till last minute. I always do, but I really always hate it. But I'm trying. I'm trying really hard this year. So, I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving. And I want to share with you a cute little block. It's called a sailing ship. And of course, first thing I thought of was the Mayflower. So let's sew together a bunch of Mayflowers so the pilgrims can be here for our Thanksgiving. So what do we need? To make an 8.5 unfinished block, I need my ocean. And I can do that dark blue again, but I found this in my stash, and I was like, let's try this. So for my ocean, I want it to be 2.5 by 8.5. And then I want a boat. I have this nice brown blender. I want that to be 2.5 by 8.5. Sky. I want two 2.5-inch squares for the sky. I need two 2.5 by 4.5-inch rectangles. I need two 3.5-inch squares, again for the sky. For my sails, I want white, or whatever color you want, 3.5-inch square. So this one, so the water is already done. It's just going to wait for us. For the boat, I want to draw a line from corner to corner. And this is one of those great air erasable pens. I really like these. And I'm going to sew them here on each side of my boat body. I'm going to sew right on that line, and then it's going to flip over. Okay. So we're just going to flip that over. I'm also going to take my 3.5-inch blocks, and I'm going to draw a line from corner to corner. I'm going to take my sail, right side to right side. And on this one, I'm actually going to use this as my guide. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch on this side and a 1/4 inch on this side. When I'm done, I'll have two half-square triangles. And I'm just going to pin it a little bit so it doesn't slip between here and the sewing machine. Alright, so far so good. So we're going to make two half-square triangles. Two half-square triangles. And then we're going to cut off the little corners on these and have the blue sky behind the body of the boat. So let's go to the sewing machine. I'm using my piecing foot, and I'm going to use that as my guide. I'm going to put that piecing foot edge right on the line that I've drawn, and I'm going to sew on the left side, and I'm going to turn it around and sew on the right side. So let's do that. I'm not worrying about back stitching because I won't be cutting this down to a 2.5 inch. pins out. Now I'm going to go on the other side. And on the other side on my second one. And while I'm sitting here, I'm going to go ahead and do my boat. Now, if I were making, you know, a full-size quilt, needing 10, 12, 14, 22 blocks, I would do all of my sky and sails pieces, and then I'd go and do all of my boat pieces. So on the sails and sky, I sewed twice, using the mark as my guide for a seam. This time on the boat, I'm going to use my mark as my sewing guide. So I am just going to go right down, and this time I am going to backstitch. Just kind of secure it a little bit. And I'm going to do the other side of my boat piece. Again. And I think I forgot to do the second back stitching, but that's okay. Not terribly worried. Alright, so I've done a quick press, and now I'm going to cut here and here, so this will fold over. Look at there. So far, so good. And we can actually go ahead and sew that together. And yes, this piece is a little bit longer. It's not exactly 8.5, it's 9-inch. But I want to do 8.5. So I'll just trim a little bit off. I can either do that now, or I can do it when I'm squaring up my block. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I'm going to go ahead and take these pieces and lay them over by the sewing machine, because I know they're ready to go. I'm just going to sew them down right there. For these two pieces where I've got the sky and the sails, I'm going to cut it right down that middle, from corner to corner. And I have 4 half-square triangles. Let's press those open and then square them up. And just to refresh everybody on how to square up, I'm going to take my ruler, and I want this diagonal from corner to corner to be on the seam line of my half square triangle. And it's bigger than what I need it to be, but that's okay because I'm going to flip it and do the other side as well. My handy dandy rotating mat. Is that not awesome? Now I'm going to put that diagonal on my diagonal seam, and then I'm going to measure 2.5 inches on this side and 2.5 inches on that side. Now I've got my diagonal on that seam. This way I'm assured of my seam going corner to corner. So let's do that to the other ones, and then we'll take another look at our pattern. So I went ahead and sewed down my boat and ocean. We have our 2 rectangles. And you decide which way you want your sails going. Of course, for me, I would make sure they're all going in the right direction. So if you look at the one I've got, so this one's actually going to match this one in the direction. But you may want your boats in your project to all be going a different direction, and that is entirely okay. We're going to sew these together, and it doesn't matter the order. You can do these and these two and these two and then together. You can do this one and this one and then sew the 4 pieces together. It's all up to you. You decide. Now when I pressed these, I did press them in opposite directions because I'm going to put these together and I want to be able to nest those seams so that they are right on target. So for that I've got one going down and one going up. Almost there. Ta-da! It's a real cute block. It looks like it would take a bit of time, but it really doesn't, and especially if you did it in assembly line fashion. This would make a great scrap project because, you know, you're not using up a whole lot. You could make all the skies and the ocean the same, but switch out the boat and the sails. So this could be a partial scrappy. And let me show you some of the other ones that I've done. So this is the one we did together. I was playing. You can see I used that same ocean, and this time I had white sky. You could do gray, you could do stars. And there's one where it's solids. The one I showed you at first. And then back to side by side with the one we did together. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Thursday Threads. I was just thinking, you know, you could put all these together, maybe turning them opposite directions to make a table runner. I think that'd be great. Great little blanket for babies and toddlers, I think. Someone who's in the Navy, someone who just likes ships. But I had fun looking at this. This pattern was published earlier in the 20th century in the Kansas City Star. There's a number of different variations of the sailing ship. I really liked this one. It went quick, fairly easy, basic blocks. A lot of them I already had cut, and I could just dig into my scraps. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you'll find us on Facebook, Sewing and Crocheting for Beginners, and send us pictures. I'd love to know what you do with this pattern. What do you make out of this block? For all you groups that are doing swaps, I think these would make a great swap block. But how they look is entirely up to you. Use your imagination. Play with your colors. Have fun. Have fun and don't stress. Be sure to encourage someone this week. Again, find us on Facebook, Crazy Dave's Crew, Sewing and Crocheting for Beginners. And we're also on the internet at cdcrew.com. I sincerely hope that you will like, comment, subscribe, and join me right here next time at Crazy Dave's Crew. Thank you so much for watching.